Good morning, it's Jonathan Barratt with the week ahead report, the war report as we like to call it, because it tries to map out what we're trying to actually achieve during the week. It's the 27th of September. It's obviously Monday morning, so let's get cracking, I guess. One of the most important things is obviously economic data as it comes out, and we try and gauge as to the direction that the economies are going in order to help placate certain trends and trades which we actually put on. This week, we've got quite a bit of data in Australia. We'll run through some of it a little bit later, but I guess obviously Wednesday is the Aussie consumer confidence. Building approvals on Thursday, new home sales and PMI on Thursday as well, which are obviously quite important, new home sales in particular. All expected to show just a little bit better than expected. And in the States, we've got some good data there. Tuesday, Case-Shiller home housing index, consumer confidence as well. GDP. Motor vehicles, or GDP on Thursday, on Friday, motor vehicles, construction spending, excuse me, and consumer confidence. So I do apologise on that. Yeah. Okay, so it could be quite good. Let's just have a bit of an idea as to what happened on Friday. So it just gets us in a bit of the mood for Monday. Okay, let's just have a look now. Alrighty, just stay with us just for a tick, okay, and we'll be able to get that all happening. Just a slight little bit of a technical hitch here, but that's okay. Rightio, here we go. What happened on Friday night, as we can all see, I guess everyone understands that we had quite a positive close on Wall Street. Some of the data there indicated that once again a little bit of a good solid recovery. It certainly came at the end of a nervous week. There's no doubt about it. But the trend seemed to have held up quite nicely, and the Dow was up 197 points, 1.86%. The S&P was up 23, and the Nasdaq was up 54. Europe also felt quite comfortable, up 1.98% for the top 50 there at 54.15. The FTSE 5140.9, the CAC 1.94, and the DAX 1.84. Local market also turned in a relatively good performance on SICOM, and that was up 57 points at 4,677. I guess at the end of the day, it sort of all looks at what sort of data we have had, and I guess it's all encompassing because we do get a good idea as to the economies are picking up. I think one of the key notes that we have is that we're getting a lot of talk from Obama talking the economy up. We do know that Bernanke has actually been a lot more cautious and sending that cautionary tone to the market. But at the end of the day, it's all about confidence, and if confidence can pick up, and as we've seen with these numbers, then it's got to bode quite well for the market. Okay, let's move along now on some of the commodities and see what's happened with the major players and bits and pieces. I'll just move that up there. Okay. I guess the key here is one we've all focused on, which is the gold market, and it's a trend in, but the trend is getting less. As you can see, the spike's a little bit less, but we seem to be motoring on, and as we know, we certainly came close, and some of us are even saying, look, we've effectively rung the bell up at that 1300, although the sales have been up there. On the charts, it doesn't really show that it's been there, but as it said, it still looks like it'll attempt it later today or tonight. That's something we have held out for some time, and that's a target we've all had. Okay, so that holds out quite nicely. Having a look at crude also got a bit of a lift last night as well, and quite a strong move there for crude. And you can see there that it held at this area here. We said this area here was quite important because it had broken a trend for some time, and it confirms the range. So just basically back up to the top end of that range for crude. Seems like a bit of a trend will continue there for the time being. Copper, we all know that we've been looking at copper for some time as well, and that certainly had a good lift on Friday as well. And as you can see, it's looking quite nice there, and we're quite happy with the results on that move in copper. It just continues to trend higher. One of the key things we have talked about is obviously these expansionary programs in America and China, and the need for copper, and also the need for copper and iron ore. So that seems to be, in my mind, to be a relatively punchy type of feeling. So that's quite good. Also, we had a very good strong lift in some of the softs as well. One of the big ones that everyone knows that I'm pretty close to is soybeans, and that's 1124, and that's been a massive move. It's something that we have projected for some time, and it's been quite strong across the board. You can just see by this chart, once it comes up, very strong move there. all this stuff indicating there that up she goes. When you look at the daily chart, this is where I think it becomes very impressive, and we'll just sort of move that into a little bit of perspective there. Look at that. And that trend's broken. This one little sucker can go all the way up to 1,300 in a heartbeat. So that's a projection down the track, which I think we can hold to. So quite happy on that. Also had some strong moves in corn and wheat, so that was quite encouraging. And the Aussie bat was still holding up quite nicely, cutting back exports, but at the end of the day, if an exporter hasn't hedged himself, then there's something seriously wrong with him. And shouldn't really see any form of concern that, I think, when it comes down to it, because you should be able to hedge, and these guys should know what to do. Okay, so really across the board it all looks quite good. Let's just have a look at the local market, spend a little bit more time on it, and you'll be able to see that, that given with some of the data, remember Wednesday we've got consumer confidence, Thursday building approvals, new home sales and PMI. And this is quite interesting because it has, that's the big picture range, and you know, by taking out these highs here, which we hope, then this one here is the first level here, which is 48.35, or if you want to look at the high there, 4,900, 5,000, or 4,900, yeah. Then we've got 49.70, 49.45, sorry, and then 5,000 is the key. Taking into perspective the whole weekly trend for this, and we should have perhaps gone from the weekly through to the daily, but have a look at that. The indicators are all opening up, and that to me you can say is perhaps still looking quite strong for that trend to continue to these levels. So I think we have to have a long bias towards that, and that's certainly what we've adopted across the board, particularly with some of our portfolios. So quite happy on that, and see if we can get something back. Obviously, often this huge loss here at 6,500, it's the right way to go at the moment. Okay, so that's pretty much about it. I think it's some of those other ones we've looked at, rough rice, have all gone exceptionally well. So, you know, in my mind, it's just knuckle down, take on a bit more equity, I think, at this level, and see if we can see some positive trends coming out of some of the currencies. Particularly, I still like the metals, nickel and copper. Still really enjoy those ones, and you know, and I feel if anything, there's some of the standouts which we will have next year or this quarter as it stands. Okay, well. That's pretty much it for the week ahead report. Now, I want to leave with a little bit of confidence here in the market. If the governments are trying to instill this confidence, and you know, particularly over in America, and we get some lead from Europe, and China's already got its plans in place, then with those commodities which are in short supply, we'll get the best bounce, including those stocks that supply. Okay, those particular commodities. So keep an eye on the nickel stocks, keep an eye on the the copper stocks, because I feel that there's structural weakness in those markets in terms of supply to the market. So keep an eye on that. Also, we've got concerns in the soybean markets, and I like some of those as well because they look quite strong. And crude, I think it's just a range in trade. You could probably have a look at that one as well. So that's about it from me for the week ahead report. I'll talk to you later, and have a good week's trading.